What is up, Retro Maniacs? Welcome to episode 69 of the Retro Card Chat podcast. My name is Mike. I'm from Mike's Retro Trading Cards, and I'm joined by two men that are clearly bougie. But only one of them is so bougie that he had to push back a recording schedule so he could make a personal appearance at a local ritzy country club. They are, of course, Joe Day and EP Eric Pahalik. How you doing, guys?
I gotta say, I think EP's finally taking my advice to heart. I tell him all the time, just choose to be rich, right? Like, just be rich, and it's so much better. Like, being rich is so awesome. I'm glad you're finally taking me up on that advice, EP.
Not all of us have Drew Jones money. So
Did he spend that for the golf? Did you spend?
I did not have to spend a penny to go golfing. I got to go golfing.
Yeah,
for free
they heard he got Drew Jones and they invited him here for the appearance.
Or was it a celebrity situation?
Met everybody. Yeah.
Was it a celebrity situation?
I did walk in. And he's like, "Oh, your money's no good here, sir. Please." I wore my Godfather shirt. Right? They're like,
"Your money's no good here," and you're like, "Thank God, because I don't got none."
Right? That Drew Jones money is gone. Oh wow, yeah. Out of the two of you, I really thought Joe would be the one big time in this, but turns out sweet little EP is the big timer down there.
I don't know, Mike. You have been invited onto another podcast. I think you're big time in us. We're the peons here.
Well, I didn't want to have to say this, but
yeah.
Whoa!
Yeah, we saw the shirt. We saw the shirt beforehand.
So,
don't worry.
Mental note. With the rated rookie T-shirt last week, so had to get back into Michael Rubin's good graces. So I had the top shirt on. Oh yes, I am playing all sides, and rightfully so. I just want a beer sponsorship. Brian Gray, call us.
I'm still shocked by this.
We will drink beer with you on the podcast.
Oh yeah,
like come on. Name your time, name your place. We'll do it.
We will. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Anytime for Brian Gray.
If there was ever anybody that was custom made to come on this podcast, I would have to say Brian Gray.
Yeah, he's up there.
I don't want Nat Turner. I don't want Michael Rubin. We're Brian Gray. That'd be fun.
If you'd rather do shots, we'll do shots. Whatever whatever you need to do.
Do whatever he wants.
Whatever.
Oh, so what is new and exciting, gentlemen?
So, two things real quick. You want the good news or you want the good or the bad first?
Give us the bad.
The bad. eBay buyers stop being assholes. Okay, please. I have a freaking Kenny Pickett card, autograph card for sale on eBay 3 times now. Someone has bought it, and this third time they haven't officially not paid yet, but I'm thinking they're not going to pay. Why do people do that? Why, just stop. If you're one of those people that do that, you are a horrible individual. And when you go to the pearly gates and St. Peter says, "Should I let you in?" I'm going to be standing right there and say, "No, you son of a bitch. Turn around. You're not allowed in. No, you're not going to pay for my Kenny Pickett card that I sold you. You do not deserve to go to heaven." Okay, that's number one. So that's the bad.
Okay.
The good is we were talking about this before we started recording. The big channels do it. So I thought, we're getting there. We're over 700 subscribers now. We're practically
huge.
And we're huge, right?
Yeah.
But we have a loyal subscriber viewer base, and they ask us all sorts of questions, on Twitter, in the comments. So we thought it'd be fun. Let's do a Wednesday show, viewer questions. So if you have a question for any of us individually, the podcast, or the group of us as a whole, throw them down in the comments. And a Wednesday show in the near future, we were going to do kind of a Q&A. So I think that'd be fun. We kind of do it for our live streams. We haven't done one of those recently, but not formally. So let's throw them up in the comments. Have a little fun with it. We love interacting with our loyal viewers, which is weird to say, but
definitely.
We really do. I mean, you look at a lot of the other content creators, not very many of them really interact with the people in the comment section. And we do. I enjoy doing that. There's very rarely, I mean, sometimes you get a comment that you just don't like. It's not really a respond to comment, so, but give them a thanks, give them a, thumbs up or whatever. But yeah, we enjoy talking about the stuff we talk about, and it's a lot of fun. And a lot of people don't do that. They don't take the time to do it because it takes time, and
it does take time.
But if you like doing it, you take the time for it. That's why, some of us here are a little too big to respond on. But yeah.
I like all the comments.
I will absolutely interact.
Yes. Us for sure. Him not so much. He's at a country club.
Ritzy country club appearances. I don't know.
He's like, I got another comment on my YouTube channel. Whatever.
Beyond, yeah.
Can you hand me my pitching wedge, sir?
So how was the trip to the country club, EP?
Oh, the trip there was fine. I had enough alcohol yesterday to probably incapacitate most humans. But as you guys know, I have a superpower, so I got up no problem this morning and went down there. All bright-eyed bushtail was laughing like an idiot because I hit one tree 3 times. I had a horrible round score-wise, but I had a blast playing. So it was.
Oh, were you?
That's your
golf?
MO.
Yeah, I played 18 holes.
Oh, okay.
16 holes.
I didn't know you were playing golf. I thought you were just there, like walking around, shaking hands, signing autographs.
Champagne.
No, I got like 150 strokes, and I decided to stop after like 16 holes. So.
Oh, okay. Wow. Bad.
It wasn't quite that bad, but we did stop after 16. So I put up a score.
The worst round the 3 of us have ever played. Well, let me rephrase. The worst round the EP has ever played with us. One of his clubs ended up in a lake. So
well. In fairness, only part of it actually ended up in the lake. It was stuck in the lake, but the handle was sticking out of the water. It was quite an impressive throw.
And it was just far enough that none of us were going to try and get it. So EP had to play the rest of the round without like an 8-iron or whatever.
I think it was actually 8-iron.
Was it an 8-iron?
I think it was 8. Yeah, because my 8 doesn't match the rest of the clubs in my bag.
The round actually, I think he just gave up shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
So I got a story for you guys. So this week, I sold some of my PSA 10s from the Marvel cards that I sent in, and
You're buying us hoodies.
I opened up another box, and I was like, I found a couple cards. Are like, well, this is way better than the one I had before. I could tell that there's no chipping, and the corners were all good. So I was like, where's my centering tool? I just wanted to take a look at it because the centering is like the other thing, and I couldn't find it. I was looking at. I texted both these guys about it. So I'm looking. I looked at my card table. Then I always put my shipping stuff over like on shelves over closer to my door so I don't forget them when I'm going to leave. I went over there. Open up boxes of cards trying to find it. I looked into my bathroom. It's not going to be in my bathroom. Why would it be in my bathroom? But I can't find it anywhere. Came back here, looked on my desk. I looked on the card table again. Nothing. I am scrambling because I need to go to work. I'm trying to get this card stuff done, but I keep thinking to myself, where is that thing? So I keep like wandering around. So I was like, get to the point where I was like, okay, well, I got to get to work, but I need this centering tool, and they're not super expensive. So I ordered some, and so I ordered 2. I got 2 of them, just because. I mean, they're only like $10 or whatever. And then I got home from work and I looked at my card table, and they're right there sticking out from under a Michael Jordan card and a top loader is the centering tool, the original one.
No.
That I thought I for sure I had shipped off in a package to the person that bought the Marvel.
You were convinced. You were convinced that you gave them a bonus.
Yeah, right.
In their package.
Yep. So now I got my centering tool, and I got 2 more. There you go.
Okay. Well, now in case you do send one out, you'll have a couple extra.
Exactly. I was thinking, in case you're an idiot again, but just get 2 of them. Just get 2 of them that way. They're not super expensive. They're like $9.99 or $8.99. It was actually cheaper than the last one I got. But just get 2 of them. So now I have 3.
I will say I have a story that I will tell offline
that
is very similar and very apropos to the number podcast we are. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. I will tell you boys the story later. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah. So I'm just gonna leave it at that.
All right.
Probably
guess below.
Oh, don't tell them to guess, because the people that watch this will guess. If they're giving EP like music video recommendations that he's throwing out at the very end of the podcast,
True.
Our
they'll
longest
try to
podcast.
guess what your
Right.
story is about that. Well, last week, I don't know if you heard, but last week we talked a little bit about the chasing cardboard situation.
Oh, what is that? Chasing.
I don't even remember.
Oh.
I went off on a little rant or something. I don't know. It was
Very
well
proud
received.
of that rant.
So
He's very
yeah,
proud of it.
very
He's
proud
been
of the
talking about
rant.
it all week.
I'm going to talk about it the rest of the year. But yeah, just a little bit of an update on that. Apparently, well, Joe, you brought this to our attention that they had turned off comments on their video, and they actually responded to one of your tweets with some kind of like, we're the victim here kind of response that I'm not even going to give them credit for here. But they also removed the actual response video to Sports Card Radio. So, I mean, it is what it is. Clearly, they're just in damage control mode, and they're just gonna, hush hush this until it goes away. So, that's the latest update. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on it, but if you do, share them here.
I think they're just a couple of days late on the damage control. If they would have started with that just
Yeah.
a little bit earlier, they wouldn't have been there. They just dug themselves a little deeper of a hole.
And this is like, after we recorded last week too, we found out that they actually sold 2 other rock autographs out of that on eBay, and nobody knows if they actually completed the sale and whatever. So, if there was any doubt last week whether or not they knew what they were doing, it's pretty obvious they did. So, I mean, I don't know, Joe.
I'll just, what I said in that tweet, I feel the same way, man. If you're going to do something, if you're going to put yourself out there and you enjoy getting the good comments, you're going to have to deal with getting the bad comments. So, and their response was, very, very, we're the victim here. I don't think any of us believe they are. So, I mean, it's a pretty bad look to, first off, it's a bad look turning off comments. If you're gonna throw out all sorts of, accusations about hobby negativity, positivity, that whole thing, and you're gonna turn off comments, I'm sorry, that's not hobby positivity. Sure, you don't want to hear the negative comments, but some of the negative comments have weight. I mean, they're people that
there's a reason
really
you're
liked
getting
you,
them.
right?
Yeah, like,
and,
not like you just randomly started getting comments,
right? And then to take it the next step, the worst thing you can do is take down the video. You shouldn't have even put the video out in the first place. So sure, maybe not having the video out there is a good thing, but you shouldn't have put it out in the first place to have to then take it down. So yeah, it's just, and it's a shame. And here at the end of the day, it is a shame because I really, really enjoyed their show. And chances are they're probably toast after this. And it sucks because, again, I really, really enjoyed their show. It was one of those things that it was appointment television. If they popped up, I was going to watch it probably that day. And now it's just, whether they put stuff out or not, it's now they've kind of tainted their whole legacy, is a stupid way to say it, but their whole vibe, which is also a stupid way to say it. I'm all about the vibes.
All about the vibe. Yeah, I mean, it is a shame that they obviously worked hard to build that following and to get that show off the ground, get people to like it, and were able to do that. And then, making a couple bad decisions that you really didn't need to make could end up hurting that. Like, that's a shame. Like, again, if you would have just do stuff the right way or respond to stuff the right way if you didn't do it the right way. Like, right. I feel like they probably had a lot of rope there that they had to play with before, things really started to hit the fan for them. So,
Well, I did make the comment to, I think it was one of our commenters, that if they would have just apologized, it probably would have went away. I don't think that's true. I think Sports Card Radio, man, once they're a dog with a bone, man. So if they would have came out and apologized, I still think Sports Card Radio would have kept at them. Whether or not they should, that's for other people to decide. But, we talked about how needed some place like Sports Card Radio is, but they really do push that boundary. And so I don't know if an apology would have done it. I don't know what would have, to be honest. I don't know what would have got them out of the situation they're in, other than being able to travel back in time and doing the right thing from the jump. if that makes sense.
Well, Joe, I think the solution that you came up with in our last episode was probably the thing. Like as soon as you get that comment back where the people said, "Hey, this is probably not authenticated," like I did the first look at BGS or whatever it was, and they said it was not real. They say, "Okay, well, we're going to send it in," and that should have been the response. Like, yeah, we got the message from the buyer. We're sending it in to get it authenticated now. I mean, obviously, they shouldn't have done it in the first place. We talked about it ourselves.
Relisting the card after the person told them
right.
it didn't pass the first look was the big mistake.
Right.
Yeah.
I think they could have definitely come back from listing that, could have said, oh, we didn't even think about that. Like we should have. Yes, we're going to send it in. And I don't think people would have had any problem with that whatsoever. But it was
I think it would have
okay,
petered.
this
I think
isn't
it
real. And going, okay, it's not real. We're going to call this person a non-paying buyer and just relist it. That was the big moment where they made the biggest mistake. And hopefully they realize it. Hopefully they learn from it. And, they're a better force in the hobby going forward. Because, like, again, people do a lot of dumb shit in this hobby. Like, some of them learn lessons, some don't. Some don't care. So I just hope that they're people that care and will do better going forward. So enough about that. Another thing we talked about last week was COMC being a group submitter. They only had to deal with CGC. I'm almost screwing up now too, Joe, because they're changing it on me. I know what they used to be called, but
sure you do.
Yeah. The viewers will believe it. But we talked about, this would be great. This would be great, but they have to get a deal with PSA. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? Turns out they have a deal with PSA. Almost makes you think that maybe they had that in place and they kind of released this news in 2 steps. But we did talk about it a lot last week, so we won't spend too much time on it. But this, I think, is great. To have a trusted company be able to be a group submitter. Sure, there are people out there that have group submitters that they think are great, but then again, they're great
until they're not.
Exactly. We've seen a lot of issues pop up with Card Collector 2 using Mark's cards and stuff before. Like Ryan wasn't trying to screw anybody, but a situation that happened caused him to, and huge credit to him for all he did in that situation to help out his customers. But a lot of people wouldn't have done that.
I'll roll my eyes at that a little bit.
It was more than what a lot of people would have done. Right. So, so now they're going to allow submissions to PSA. You can buy a card from COMC, send it there, or you can send your cards that you want graded right to COMC, and they will send them to PSA for you. They will, keep them in your vault for you, and you can list them for sale on COMC. You can do it on eBay. You can get the cards back. All the stuff we talked about last week, but it's official, EP. This is a good thing, right?
Oh, 100%. I feel like, and also they needed this, as we said, like this was the key to making this really work. And I feel like the way they did it, again, assuming I think we all assume that they had this deal in place.
Oh yeah.
Or at least it was like really close to being done. Like it was that, like maybe just cross a T and dot an I here or there or something like that. But I feel like also the way that it played out, where they released this announcement, we're going to do all of your group submitting, and then a couple of days later, oh, by the way, we also have PSA. Like that, just like the people that were interested, they're like, but they don't do PSA. And we got PSA. Okay, well, and then so that shot up the people interest level 100%, and then to do it like a week or two from the national, and then have they're going to be there accepting submissions there too. So I mean, this is really, really, really big steps for COMC, I feel like.
Yeah, and you're going to want to submit through COMC at the national and not PSA from the prices that they're charging. I'm going to come at it from a different angle. I agree with 100% of what both of you said, but I'm going to come at it from the other angle and be like, if I'm CGC, I'm like, son of a bitch. We had an inroad. Like I think they did the same thing with eBay authentication. Like they were the ones that got the raw authentication, and the PSA's like, hold on. We won all the graded authentication. So, and now COMC did this great deal with CGC, and now PSA is like, hold my beer. We're going to do it. So I'm curious how that, the numbers are going to shake out between screwing up CGC. Between CGC and PSA, like I'd love to know the submission numbers. I don't know if COMC would ever release those. That how PSA may be telling them not to, unless they're absolutely crushing CGC. But like I'd love to see the submission numbers on who's group submitting for CGC through COMC and who is doing it with PSA through COMC. That'd be an interesting number to check out.
The one thing that could be in their favor, CGC has like quite a bit lower bulk rates and stuff. So like a lot of it'll depend, I guess, on what COMC's services will be, how much they'll cost and whatnot. Because, you know, a lot of people out there that would be more willing to send a card in for like $10, $12, especially like PC stuff, than like $20, $25. So I guess the details are yet to come. But I mean, yeah, obviously more people are going to be sending it.
Oh, yeah.
Like just how it is. That's what happens. Like they grade way more than all the other companies put together every month. So I'm sure the levels will probably be similar to that at COMC too.
It would be proportionate, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Are either of you guys, would this be something you would consider using? Like for, say you have cards you're thinking about selling that you want to get graded?
I would definitely consider it, but I'm like, I probably would, my thought, I haven't thought about doing it myself, but I've used COMC for, you know, to buy and sell on their platform. I've not sent any cards in or have any come back. And Mike, you just said before, you've done the same thing, but I'm definitely not going to say no, but I have been putting together some cards I'm probably going to do for PSA, do a PSA order for myself that I will probably still do myself. But I would not rule out using COMC at this point for sure.
I don't buy or rip as much as the two of you do, so I really don't have like the quote inventory to do it. If this was something that was available when I first got back in, when the three of us first got back in, I would have considered it at that point, because it is nice to have, you know, like you said, Mike, a group submitter who you can trust. You know, like, yeah, sure, they could still screw you, but at the end of the day, I think they're probably the safest group submitter to ever walk the earth in the hobby. Yeah, so I mean, I would definitely have considered it then when I did have the inventory before I started grading and selling.
Okay. Well, hopefully if you do use them to submit to PSA and you decide to get a $45,000 Patrick Mahomes autograph rookie card reholdered, PSA doesn't damage the card. This week we saw on social media that a user sent in a 2017 Contenders rookie ticket autograph of Patrick Mahomes that was graded a 10 with a 9 auto. He was not liking the 9 auto grade, so he decided to have the card reholdered to just the 10 without the auto grade on it. I guess in a weird way that increases value on cards like that. To
trick people. It's fine.
Yeah,
you can say it.
But unfortunately, when PSA went to encapsulate the card, I guess it wasn't in right, and part of the card got damaged, and now it's a PSA 8 instead of a 10.
Well, thank God he declared the value, though, right?
Well, thankfully, I mean that's why they have that. So,
right? Yeah.
Thankfully, at least he. Oh, wait, what?
Breaking news.
Breaking news. Oh, wait.
Shuffles papers.
The guy decided. No, that can't be right. Is that right?
Yeah, that is right.
Okay. Well, I'll run with it. Yeah, my sources tell me that the guy decided to save $25 on the insurance to have it done and only declared the value at $5,000.
I think it was 10,000.
Or 10,000.
I think it was 10,000 to be fair.
50,000.
Yeah.
So he's only going to get $5,000 back.
Good.
Rightfully so.
Now there are levels to this because I had a card that PSA damaged too, and I have a big problem with the declared value thing, yet they charge you to grade the card on the market value thing. Like that, but it's the way it is. It's in their terms of service, nothing you can do about it. I think it's stupid. I think they're cheating you. They're making sure that if they have to pay you out, they're going to pay the lowest. If they're going to charge you for grading. You're going to get charged the highest. But they're PSA. Everybody's using them. Too bad, Mike. What are you going to do about it? So yeah, I ended up having this situation myself on a much smaller scale.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking if I'm sending in, even me, if I'm sending in a $45,000 card, not 50, just 45, to get reholdered, I'm going to at least insure it for the full value, declare the full value, especially only when it's $25 more. Like, I feel terribly that the person is going to take that big a loss, but sometimes you got to look in the mirror and realize that it was all your fault, right?
Yes. Why are we even talking about this? Like, this
you wanted to talk about it.
No, I mean, why are we even talking about, like, it's not his fault? Like,
it is
you're stupid. Like, I'm sorry. I have no sympathy whatsoever for this person. First off, you can afford to buy a $50,000 card. Let's
45, only 45.
Whatever. Let's not forget that for the way I read it, it got the 9 auto. He sent it in to get reviewed to have them double check. And they said, no, it's a 9 auto. Then he sent it back to get reholder to take the auto out. I'm curious if when he was this back and forth, if he was insuring it through the USPS at all. Like, what was he doing? Like, I'm sorry. You are an idiot. You deserve what you got. It's flat out to spend $45,000 on a football card, which is we all love sports cards, right? We all love collecting. Don't spend $45,000 on a card. Just don't. Everyone out there, I guarantee no one that watches our channel is spending $45,000 on a card. I fully insure cards for like $45. Like, it's like, so you're spending $45,000 on a card and you're not going to insure it for the $25. I do not care what PSA's policy is on, they're going to charge you X amount over, they're going to upcharge you. I don't care about any of that. Them's the rules, right? If you can afford to spend $45,000 on a card, you can afford to take the time to read the PSA rules and understand what declared value is, because it's absolutely ridiculous that this guy did this. It's even more ridiculous that people are like, oh my God, PSA, I'd sue him.
On zero grounds.
You can sue them all you want, but you'd lose.
Oh, PSA should make this right. You mean by literally doing it exactly what it says they're going to do in their terms of service? Yes, they will make it right. I have no sympathy for this person, all for $25. Even EP can afford $25. Maybe.
There are a lot of levels on this. First, I want to say, Joe, I'm right there with you. I don't know if you guys did the same thing, but if I've got a card that's like $50 or more, I'm paying for the extra insurance. Like I'm clicking the dollar, pay $1.70 for insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm paying that. I got no problem paying that. Like just insure it. So like then that scales up obviously more for the more cards. So, but there are a lot of levels, and most of those levels are this guy is not. This person, Twitter person, is not altogether there. They're just not. They just don't get it. I feel like a 10 with a 9 auto, is that bad? Like why?
That was I didn't even get to that point yet.
Like what are you even doing? Like it's a 10 with a 9 auto. Just enjoy this amazing card. Like it's so close to being perfect. Let it be close to perfect. It's a $40,000 card. But then when you send it in and you declare the value, like what do you think declared value is supposed to be? Like what do you think of that's there for? It's there for a reason. Like
yeah. I got to tell this little story quick. I was at the post office. This was months ago, and someone went up and they had this package, and the person behind the counter says, "Okay, would you like to insure this?" And they're like, they were confused on how the insurance worked, and the person said, "Well, you pay X amount of dollars per $100 or whatever it shook out to be," and the person's like, "Well, can I insure for $100? But if it gets damaged and it's worth more, would I get what it's worth back?"
Nah.
This was me. Like audibly. Like I was so like to the point where the person turned around. Like I was just so like why are you allowed to vote? Like I was like certain people should not leave their home.
Do you forget to breathe every once in a while? Like do you just forget to breathe every so often? You have to like remember.
It's just so mind blowing. It is absolutely mind blowing to me.
Well, I'm really afraid to know what your two like private texts back and forth were when I told you about my Kobe Bryant card getting damaged.
Well, no. That was different. I mean,
Was
that's
it?
100% different. Again, it was a 10-9
because they damaged it while they were
and they
grading it.
yeah,
That's
right,
different.
right.
They
This
they
one was already
effed up.
graded to nearly perfect, and because this person has a problem with a nearly perfect card and thought it should be perfect, even though it probably wasn't perfect, he kept. It's like you said, Joe. He sent it back twice.
Yeah, someone said on Twitter too that it was a PC card. Really? You couldn't sit there and again, it's all on the internet. We don't know. I don't think the person has actually themselves spoken about this.
Yeah,
So
it was a
did
story
they
about
find
somebody, a friend of a friend or something like that.
right, right. So for all we know, this could be one of those like Blair Witch Project, like it didn't actually happen, but the internet is a buzz. But like that's the one thing that was in my head as soon as I read the story was, again, if it's true, if this is a PC card and you can't deal with that 9, what does that tell you about the hobby we are in now? How the hobby is now? That you are so obsessed with the fact that it says 1010 that you have to then send the card back. I'm kind of surprised they didn't crack it open themselves and try and resubmit it to try and get the 1010 instead. But like, I just, that is one of the biggest problems with the hobby is we're so trained to have to see 10s on labels. And if we don't,
well, not we.
Oh, this is a piece
of
right. Like 9s are darn
overall
good cards, man. Like 9s
overall
are so good.
Right.
So good.
Yeah,
a 9 on an auto.
So much now that you can't have a Patrick Mahomes rookie card graded a Gem Mint 10 on the card just because it says a 9 for the auto. Oh, wow, that's horrible. Like, oh wow, I don't know.
Like the pen was probably a little streaky. Like it was probably just a little bit of streak in the auto. Like, and you can't have that in your PC. That is like, and let's say it wasn't for their PC that they were trying to then resell it. Why are you taking that risk to have someone and I don't know how much they get paid to crack these suckers open, but let's just assume they're not making, $100 an hour to crack open slabs. Why are you taking that risk with someone like that? I can't work it out in my brain. I refuse to comprehend this.
Let alone, Joe, that like you said, the risk to mail it off twice over this tiny issue that really is, in my opinion, probably meaningless. If somebody else wants to buy that card, 9 or 10 is not going to make a huge difference as far as the value, in my opinion. Like I feel like that just that card being a 10 with a 910 auto, like I really, how much of a difference in price do you think it goes from 45,000 to what if it's a 1010?
I don't know.
I who cares? I mean, it's not going to get, and I will say though that again, it's the whole training thing, right? The whole mental training thing. I sold a PSA 10 Kenny Pickett auto, and one that sold after mine was a 1010, and it did sell for more. Like I didn't, now it probably would have broke even because of the time amount it would have taken to get that card back because the PSA DNA is a little bit longer, and then to pay for the additional service and all that stuff. So probably wouldn't have made that big of a financial difference, but someone's willing to pay, I think it was $75 or $100 more, again, for a $300 card, someone's willing to pay that premium for a 1010. I guess I just don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, people do pay premium for the 10 autograph. I know I've talked to you, EP, about some of those finest WWE autos I had and how all of them, when I looked at the surface and everything, had very light flaws in them, but they definitely had them. And I was pretty sure they wouldn't get a 9. And I had a couple people tell me, send them in and get them graded, but get the auto grade. Because if you get a 9 and a 10 on the auto, it'll still sell for more. And I'm like,
interesting.
Wow. Yeah. So apparently that's a thing, not us, but yeah, it is a thing out there.
Which is hysterical though. The juxtaposition of that and people buying sticker autos where the auto is so far off the sticker, and it's like, but you're willing to be okay with that, yet this 9 auto is just enough to throw you off to the point where, and I just watched, I don't know if you guys have watched Crystal's latest video about some cards he got back from BGS. Did you see that?
I didn't see it yet.
He had he was confused why the auto grade wasn't on it. It was a BGS. It was Dan Marino auto. And I commented that BGS actually doesn't put the auto number on unless it's a 10. They still have it in their system. And I looked it up. It was an 8 auto for his Marino, but they won't put that now because again, we're so trained that, and these grading companies know that. They know that if it's less than a 10, people don't want to even see it. So that's something BGS is doing that I'm kind of surprised that PSA doesn't do.
Yeah.
That if it's not going to hit that 10 auto, we'll put it in the registry as a 9 auto, but we won't even put it on the label. I'm really shocked that PSA does not do the same.
Still crazy. I mean, like those wrestling cards, like just think about it. If I had one of those that was a 9 with no auto grade on it, and somebody could clearly look at it and look at the auto, but they would pay more for it if the auto was graded a 10, even though it's literally the same exact card. But I mean, if you go down that wormhole, you can do that with a lot in this stuff.
Yeah. Everything with the grading complex, industrial complex.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, I'm going to mix up our order here a little bit since we're talking about people that aren't inherently smart. I don't know if you remember a grading company called HGA. Do you guys remember them? They were all that high-tech artificial intelligence and all that stuff. Yeah, that really wasn't true. Well, their former CEO, Tyler Hitt, was recently on, I believe it was Facebook, and he was going to basically raffle off his Dodge Challenger, which, you know, I saw the original game used. Yeah, had some kind of whatever on it. I'm not going to begin to know what the car was and what was special about it. It wasn't called a Raz, it was called a Line, which I didn't know they were interchangeable terms. Whatever it is, you're raffling it off. But he was going to raffle it off, and he, you know, said in the post that he had talked to his accountant, and you know they were going to put the money in escrow and stuff. And I like looked at that, and initially I was like, "How did you talk to your accountant?" And they didn't say, "Wait a minute,
whoa,
you can't
this
do
smells
this."
illegal.
Pump the brakes,
But shortly thereafter, Tyler Hitt had to cancel the raffle for his car because apparently the accountant did have questions and said, you know, we really need to talk to the lawyer to make sure that you can do this. And here's a shocker. Guess what? You can't just raffle off your car. That's gambling, and you're not allowed to do that.
Fantastic.
And the funny
How did this company not succeed? I mean,
and the way I'm not even done. The funny thing is too, after he announced that they couldn't do that, he also said that, well, even though we don't have like the charity games of chance license, like typically because of the amount of money involved, they usually let this stuff happen anyway. So like he not only thought he could do it, and then he found out he couldn't do it, but then he was upset that even though he knew he couldn't do it, he felt like he should be able to do it because it wasn't a certain amount of money.
That is not how laws work, sir.
Now, this guy was in charge of HGA. And like you said, like, I don't know how they are not the number one grading company right now.
So the reason I'm looking at my phone right now is I went back to our YouTube channel. We always wax poetic about go back and watch episode 1. Go back and watch episode 3. It is out of our early episodes. It's our most viewed, and it's the rise and fall of HGA. So I'm sure we're going to hit on a lot of the same notes, talking about this situation. I'll bring it back to cards for a second. Like I look at these on Twitter all the time, these Razes, and I think to myself, how are these not being cracked down on more and more? Like it's straight up gambling. Like here's a, $45,000 Patrick Mahomes. Okay, maybe not that. Here's a $200 card. Everyone pitch in, $30 and there's 10 spots and I draw. Like how that's gambling. That is as gambly as it gets. My last point though, I will say for any people who are trying to like not pay taxes on card sales, I think you call up Tyler's accountant. He can probably just really just smooth that stuff over for you. I mean, that's shady as hell.
I got a couple things. I know, Joe and Mike, you guys, I still have not seen Raz's at the times I've been on social. You guys are on social media way more than me. Like I don't. Maybe I've blocked all those people. Remember, I am a prolific blocker of people who, when I see something I don't like, and it seems like the kind of people that would do this kind of thing probably might be the people I would block. But also, why? So like, how many lawyers and accountants? When they're like, I just picture them on the phone with somebody, and then they hang up. They're like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I have to deal with these people." Like, did you think that you would just be able to raffle off your car? Like,
yeah,
that? Like,
he did. He clearly did.
Literally,
and a raffle that would have like got like $200,000 for the car, right? Something like that.
You know what can do that? Like the Mega Millions and the Powerball and like these like giant government agencies. They're allowed to do that. You can't do that
because they sponsor older Pennsylvanians. I mean, maybe if Tyler was kicking some of that to an old folks home, I don't know. Maybe that would have been okay. It's crazy to me. I mean, and they call gambling the dumb people tax, right? So I mean, if you were putting your money into someone's car raffle, you go to the casino and you'll see they do stuff like this. But guess what? They're a casino. They're allowed
stuff like right. This. Yeah, I could play that slot machine and try to win that car if I want to. That's illegal,
exactly.
Going back to that third episode, I was saying, I still stand by. I still like HGA's labels. Like I think they're nice labels, but there's just such a cloud over their the company and the grading and everything that I just
And now you have like Tag actually doing what HGA said they were going to do,
right?
Or said they were doing, I guess, sensibly. Right. So like you actually have a company doing that who also have very cool slabs. So like I think we can move HGA out, and I think Tag is probably, I haven't used them yet, so this isn't a sponsored comment, but I mean they're doing the thing that everyone was kind of enamored with HGA. So.
HGA is accepting applications to be group submitters, though. So if you want to, you can go to their website or sign up. So.
Boys, HGA group submitter.
I feel like we
could be the Marks cards. We could be the Marks cards of HGA because we're all about the vibes.
We could put HGA group submitter on everything and not have to do any work because nobody's going to.
No one submits.
I like it. Yeah, make us seem like we're a bigger deal.
Just
than we
add it to the resume. Just add it to the list of accomplishments.
It's definitely a resume builder right there. Oh well, I don't know if you guys realize it, but the Nationals this week.
I'm sorry, the what?
Wait, what?
The Natty, not Nationals.
Oh, I gotta get my ticket.
Yeah, what?
Yeah. Huh. Are we going?
It snuck right up on us.
I'm ready. I could go, boys.
Well, you're closer than we are. So clearly, yeah. If we were right next door to Chicago, we would be going too, Joe. I don't know why you're not going. Why aren't you?
I won't, because first off, you said, no, the three of us have to go because you tried to throw poor, sweet little EP under the bus for us not going. And I'm like, Mike, we could
can't take time off.
That's what I'm saying. So, Mike, you and I, let's go.
You could go. You could go by yourself, but like the two of us can't go without EP. Like
this is Joe Day reporting live from the National.
Not an individual thing. Yeah, why don't you go be like the reporter on the scene?
I can expense everything.
Yeah, go ahead. You get paid for it, but you can definitely turn in the receipts.
I'll give those to Tyler Hitt's accountant.
You're exactly
yeah. Why not? So yeah, I in all honesty though, I am having a little FOMO. Like we did go last year, it was a great time, and
we didn't get murdered.
We did not get murdered. We didn't get robbed. We didn't have any of our Pelican cases stolen.
I didn't experience any violence at all. Like anything other than the smell
of
weed.
I experienced violence. I experienced violence one time. It was at an Applebee's.
Oh, okay.
When EP twisted my arm so hard that I couldn't even flip through cards for the rest of the trip. But okay.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Other than that,
I was worried I was going to have to be called to testify. But yeah, one of the rumors going around though, because apparently on social media, the Atlantic City Tourism Board posted that they were going to be hosting the National in 2026. That has since been taken down.
Oh.
regardless of whether it's true or not, I just want to be able to bring up the fact that the whole card industry is having another chance to take another go at Atlantic City and say how terrible it was. And again, you're all soft. You're soft.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
sports card radio, you're soft.
Yeah,
you're
I was
West
gonna
Coast.
just say that.
Come on,
Yeah,
we're
those West
East
Coast people
side.
don't get it.
Say that.
Yeah, they got no shot. Like, what are we even doing?
They don't know.
Yeah.
I do love him, but the one guy's like, I'm from Oakland, and I think Atlantic City's like, dude, come on.
Yeah. Come on.
You are soft.
We're harder than Compton. Come on.
We listen, we even said we're the whitest of white bread central Pennsylvania people in the history of the universe.
We're in the same shirt.
But
boardwalk.
Yeah.
Walking down the boardwalk. If they were looking for marks, like there were 3 idiots wearing the same exact shirt.
Absolutely. Yeah, somebody was saying that you couldn't. I think it might have been Sports Card Radio that you couldn't even go walk around after dark. Like we did the whole time. Like first of all, where do you want to walk around? Like, are you going to Chicago and walking around the city after dark in places you shouldn't be walking in? Like,
right.
Even in Chicago when you're at the National in Chicago, just the news.
The Rosemont Hotel.
Like,
it's like
where do you want to go? Like,
away from Chicago?
Going on the boardwalk or going into a casino, where are you going? I don't even understand. So
it's like, hey, if they have the National in Danville, it's super safe, guys. I mean, you won't have to worry about getting mugged at all. Like
maybe it's just because all of us here in the Northeast, we go to Philly, we go to New York City, we go to Boston. We're not afraid of Atlantic City. Come on, like I don't know, just you're so soft. Everybody west of Pennsylvania is so soft.
Yeah. I mean, and we're kind of joking, kind of not, because like I'm sorry, I did not feel my life was in danger at all as it was.
Right.
But that post gave plenty of content for content creators to complain about Atlantic City one more time. And they were all losing their minds like, oh my God, I might have to quit doing cards if it's in Atlantic City. Like people, I
didn't see any of this. Oh my God.
Hyperbole, of course. It wasn't that intense, but it really felt that way because it's like, are you that concerned about Atlantic City?
Imagine the sports card hobby maybe overreacting, exaggerating.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Though you're right. What? You put it in the right light for me. Now I get it.
Oh yeah. You also hear the other rumor that there's a rumor that they're trying to shut down any of the trade nights in the hotels. Other rumors that no, that's actually not happening. Some rumors that they're saying it's not happening, but the hotels are going to do it. Like, I mean, I watched Neo talk about it, and he's like really wearing the tinfoil hat for that one because he went from they're not going to allow it to they're saying they're going to allow it, but you don't know, maybe they called all the hotels and like the hotels are going to say we're not allowing you, but we're not going to. I'm like, okay, I don't know, so I'm not going to be there, not my concern, but hopefully people will be able to get together and have trade nights, because I do agree that that's a big part of the experience. Right.
That feels like one of those rumors that somebody made up, and that it just is just like spreading, like it's completely not true. Like
the sports card hobby exaggerating something. What?
Making up some S and then spreading like
shit.
Wildfire.
You're allowed to swear. Mike proved last week we are allowed to swear on the potty.
No, but I don't want to get beeped, so I'm good. I'm just every once in a while I'll warn you if you got to beat me.
Yeah. Dio was Northeast Ohio Cards and Comics. He was very, very, very concerned about this trade night thing. I will say, as we've talked about before, when Fanatics kind of takes over the hobby and they start having these Fanatics events, these Fanatics lives, don't be surprised if they only allow sanctioned Fanatics trade nights. Like, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. The whole let's keep the hobby safe. Let's make sure someone's not getting screwed, however you define that. Like, I could totally see Fanatics coming in and saying one of our sanctioned hobby partners.
Thing, though, like if they sponsor the trade nights and have a couple of them like that anyway.
Right.
Yeah. Like I think that's what we would be looking towards.
That said, though, like I also feel like card hobbyists, like us, like who we are, like if they say you can't do it in our lobby at the hotel, they're gonna find a way to do it somewhere else. Like they're these people these people like live for these trade nights. I've never been to one myself, but like I hear a lot of content creators talking about it, and they're just gushing about how fun it is and how awesome it is to be in this room with all these people. Like one of the most amazing experiences you can have as a human is like to be in a room with like 50,000 people or 100,000 people that are all have the same interest. Just like it's a cool thing. And like, so like, not that the trade nights are quite that big, obviously, but like to be in a room with like 100 people that are all trading, all talking cars, all that sort of stuff like that, like they're going to find a way to do it. They're going to go somewhere else. They're going to go to Applebee's. They're going to go somewhere else and make this happen. A parking lot outside of the hotel, because they can't have it inside. You know, they're gonna do
in Atlantic City.
They're gonna do trades. Oh God, gosh, no, not Atlantic City.
The bullets are flying.
I didn't see one bullet, Joe. Not one.
I was gonna pack heat. I asked you guys beforehand. Should I? I have my concealed carry permit. I will say this though. If I was running a hotel, I would, like in my lobby, if I have other people, like there is that idea that, okay, let's try and put it somewhere. Let's have, like they're not going to let you have the ballroom for free. Though the counter argument to that is I'm sure the hotels are raising their rates over that weekend. So they can afford to put it into a ballroom, but like it's probably better to have it a sanctioned thing somewhere than just a helter-skelter. Let's meet in a parking lot at Applebee's and start exchanging tens of that. How much in one of those trade nights in a big ballroom, how much in card values do you think is there? Like hundreds of thousands of dollars. Maybe $1 million, just in a trade night. So you like to have something sanctioned, to have it in a safe, like a ballroom area. And not just from from the fright that is Atlantic City, but like from people stealing. I mean, I don't put it past anyone to walk past the Zion case or Pelican case or whatever and just pick it up and walk away with it. Like, so to have something more sanctioned and more legitimate, I think would be best for everyone.
I also think if you're that hotel that does that pulls the trigger on that and says, "Hey, we're making this happen," like that ends up being the hotel that people want to go to. That you're going to just like be over full.
How many people are going to go into the bar and drink afterward?
Right.
Yeah,
yes.
Like,
I mean,
maybe get something to eat in there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, exactly.
I think there is a big benefit for the hotel to say, "Yeah, come on in here. We'll give you this room." Like, yeah, there's definitely a financial gain for them. But hey, there's nothing like a whole bunch of nerdy people getting together and enjoying nerdy stuff together in a safe haven. Like, we're nerds. We're all part of this hobby. Not afraid to say that. Like, it is kind of cool when you get to hang out with the other nerds.
Much smaller scale, but like Susquehanna Valley Mall show that the couple that we've been to, like exact same thing. Like it's very much smaller scale, but they are all our people in there, like the dealers and the people buying, and it's just
you just like that because you have so many people hounding you for autographs and pictures, and you're kind of a big deal when you walk around the mall.
I don't wear my Mike shirt anymore because like I can't.
I know. Well, you can't.
Like, listen, just get.
Last time was terrible. Yeah, I don't blame you for not wearing it. So,
it is a weird mix though. It's not just like the nerds, the people that we love. It's also some of the people that we think are pretty terrible in the hobby, also good at these things. So it is a mix, we
don't think anybody's terrible. We are positive if we are anything on this podcast.
Pass. Then I'm out. I am out.
Joe's out.
Yeah.
So here's a question for you. I talked about, potentially the National being in Atlantic City in 2026. Fanatics events starting. Is anybody going to care about the National in a couple of years? Like, what kind of an impact do you think that Fanatics, once they get their events up and running, might have on the National? A lot of people have complaints about the National every year. Like, really hasn't changed in forever. Like, there's a lot of favoritism that goes on and whatnot. Especially that's why a lot of people talk about them going to Atlantic City, because I guess they get the venue there for very, very cheap, which, from a business stance, I can understand why they would want to do that. And it keeps
tickets for the goers very, very cheap.
Right? But do you, what kind of an impact, if any, do you think Fanatics events will have on the National, like, in the future?
I don't think much. We kind of talked about this last week, right? Like, it really depends on what the Fanatics Live or Fanatics events, whatever it's called, what it actually is, right? Like, if it's just like you go in and there's a little portion of it that's cards, but then there's a lot of jerseys, and then I think I made the joke there's going to be blackjack tables in the one corner, and there's going to be
that's a joke. I'm not sure that was a joke.
Yeah. So it depends, because you're not going to be able to, I don't think, going to go into a Fanatics event and it's going to be you're not going to be able to go and get Panini products, right? It depends if they have a deal with a grader. Maybe the grader they have a deal with is not the grader you like, so you can't do that. They're only going to allow those clean and sterile type of card, like Burbank. They're going to let folks like that in. They're not going to have that guy we bought junk wax. Do you think he's going to be invited to one of those Fanatic events and we really
think they'll have anybody there that has a juggler, maybe?
No, with the juggler again. This is
just wondered.
I was hoping
just wondered. Fair question.
Will Kenny Pickett be spinning? But yeah, I think that because they're not going to be an all inclusive type of thing, that yes, the National will be fine. I don't think they're going to take anything away from that.
Yeah, first I want to say, like, if the National returns to Atlantic City or anywhere like the Northeast coast, like anywhere around here, like I think there's almost like no doubt that we're going to be going to it, right? Like if like that, I feel like that would be.
Yeah. We're talking about Cleveland next year for sure.
So, I mean, that is like something we would consider. So like I feel like that they should definitely not do that. But then to your question, Mike, like I feel like the National is going to be safe. I feel like the National has been this thing in the hobby for such a long period of time. The only question is if any of the active players at NFLPA, if they're told that they can't sign at the National for some reason by Fanatics until it is the National sponsored by Fanatics, which probably could also happen at some point. But I feel like I don't think the National can be messed with. I think the National feels like it is above all.
It's an institution.
That, you know what I mean? Right. It feels like a thing, and I even feel like, as much as I just joked about like the Fanatics taking over the National, I feel like the board, like the people who are in charge of that, would push really hard to say this is the National. We don't get sponsored by anybody. We need to have include everybody here. We need to have Leaf here. We need to have all these other companies here, Panini here, and I just feel like that they wouldn't. I think it would take an exorbitant amount of money for them to be able to be sponsored by Fanatics and have it turn into a Fanatics show. Not that Fanatics is afraid of throwing exorbitant amounts of money at things.
Maybe they'll just buy the National. Well, unfortunately, we aren't going to the National, so we won't be able to get any of our cards graded on site this year. But thankfully, this year, anybody going to the National has all 4 major grading companies there, and they're all doing, for the first time in a few years, on-site grading. I guess we'll start from lowest to highest. CGC is only charging $20 a card for end of show grading. SGC came out this week. They're doing $35 a card grading for end of show. Beckett's at $100 and PSA's at $150. So that SGC price, they were the last one to announce it. $35. Like, obviously, people like to use PSA. Obviously, we know the difference in value. But right there, you have a $115 head start if you're grading with SGC. So I think some people with, not super high dollar cards might need to stop and think about which one really makes more sense for them. Like, really surprised they came in with that number, but I think it's pretty impressive, right?
If it's a $500 or below card, it's definitely, to me, it's an SGC submission, right? I mean, you could even make the argument $1,000 and below because of the $115 difference. Like, that's huge. That is massive. That's even $1,000 card. That is 10%. So the PSA, the comps have to be so much in PSA's favor for you to even consider PSA over SGC in that situation, if you were just looking to flip the card. But again, that's by the end of the show, right? Mm-hmm. So who is buying, how is that working, that you get a card at the show or take a card to the show and you wouldn't have it for pretty much the entire National? I guess you'd have to make a deal and say, well, it'll get here eventually, and we'll just kind of like, it's kind of like a flip of a coin on what it actually grades. I don't know how that's a benefit. as someone who would be trying to sell cards if they got them graded on site. But
I think it's more so
regardless.
for people that are picking up cards at the show. Probably a lot of vintage that you might buy that might not be graded. Stuff maybe you get in a trade at a trade night or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, more so, not so much stuff you're bringing there, more so stuff you're picking up there, I guess, is how it would work.
I when looking through my email, because I saw something from COMC. So if you're not looking to get it graded and then try to flip it or whatever you would do there, like they're having 50% off graded card submissions at the elite, select, and standard service levels at the national. So if you go to this COMC booth, get 50% off whatever your submission fee is there. Now that's not, I'm sure that doesn't include the fee to get them graded or whatever, but as far as like turning them in, like COMC is a good dealer. So if you are thinking about doing that, that's a good option. I don't think I would ever, I don't feel like I would ever take a card to be graded there or get a card graded at the national.
If it was big enough that like the shipping and insurance would be prohibitive to send something, like, shipping insurance, unless you're that guy from earlier that we talked about and really don't care. I was going to ask,
we're talking about a $45,000
like, so that's, I can kind of see taking cards with SGC. It's like, it's a great deal and everything, but if it's just stuff that I'm looking to like buy and I look at it this way: SGC is so quick. Do you really need to drop them off at the national and hope, and get them back like 2 days later? That's what you can mail them in and get them back 3 days later with SGC with their turnaround time. So
well, SGC is actually running a special too, that you can take cards there to leave with them for $15 and they'll send them back to you with their normal.
That's where I'm going.
Yeah, that's a pretty good deal too.
Oh yeah.
So that's for the people who want to send stuff to SGC. You're saving yourself the shipping and the insurance on the way down there, and you're going to get them back right away after the show pretty quickly. So yeah,
and you feel much more comfortable handing cards,
right?
Yeah,
than sending them in the mail. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well,
$50 though, hard pass on that. That sounds absolutely ridiculous. The graded card. I do want to make one more point about the national before I forget. I already have 2 people. Sports Card Dad is one of them. 2 people looking for the Kenny Pickett, Dan Marino dual auto, number to 15 out of blue. Dustin, don't forget. I think I have my Dustin and Justin. They're 2 people looking for that card. So I sent them my number. If you see it, text me. I will negotiate with the person. Put me on the phone. I need to get this card. I need it from the national. Hook me up.
That'd be so awesome.
I feel like that's yet another reason why you should just get out there and go.
I mean, I'll come and pick you up, Mike. I'll come and pick you up.
You're so close. You're so close, Joe.
You're basically right next to it.
It's like a 10-hour drive.
Like 400. So it's like 400 miles away from you. 500 miles.
A lot closer than it is from here. That's all I'm gonna say. Oh well, in all seriousness, I really am suffering FOMO. Like I said, I do hope anybody going enjoys themselves. Like, it was a great experience to go to, even though we didn't really buy much last year. But
the experience itself was definitely worth it.
Especially for somebody who's never gone. Like, I feel like the 3 of us had never gone. So I mean, it's an awe-inspiring. It's like walking into the American History Museum or something like that for the first time. It's like you're like, wow, look at and then it's like to see like that case full of 1993 SPGers that were all autographed, like stuff like that. Just like so much. There's so much cool stuff. Right. That, with there were so many in there that they were like piled up. It wasn't even like you couldn't even see all of them because they were all piled on top of each other. Right. Like, such a cool experience.
It's insane, but I'm sure there will be a lot of news coming out to cover next week. I don't know. We're going to try to get somebody who is there to talk with us. Maybe, hopefully we'll be able to have that for you next week too. But I don't know. Other than that, I think we're done for this week. Anybody else have anything?
No.
Don't forget, any questions you might have for us individually, us as a group, drop some questions down in the comments. We're going to try and do a B show out of it, a Wednesday show out of it. So make sure you do that before you click exit out of this video.
Absolutely. All right, guys, that was fun. And I will see you next week. Take care, guys.
See you, boys.